Cheat Code Support Strategist by myheadinthecoudsnotcomingdown. Read by Rat Overlord. Chapter 78 Defense. Summary. The heroes make a decision. Hitoshi didn't tend to sleep well in new places, but today was the exception. He was exhausted from the fight with the pussycats, had his stomach full of good food, and his crush had agreed to go on a date with him. It was like the perfect recipe for a good night's sleep. Until his adults ruined it completely.
Wakey, wakey, little listeners!
Loud Dad screamed.
Everybody pack up!
Hitoshi jolted out of a deep sleep and looked around at his classmates, who were in a similar state. Todoroki was blinking slowly, while Mineta looked almost enraged at being woken up, and Kaminari just looked absolutely bewildered.
What's going on? Training.
Dad answered shortly, picking up Kirishima's half-empty backpack from the floor and throwing it at him.
Get everything packed up. In heroics, you never know when the next fight is going to happen. You have to be ready to go at the drop of a hat. Bus leaves in 5 minutes, and you all better be on it when it does.
His adults left, and everyone exchanged confused looks for half a second before the room erupted into a flurry of movement as everyone scrambled to grab everything and stuff it in their bags as quickly as possible. Hitoshi groaned and flopped back onto the floor.
I'm revoking their parental privileges.
Isuku tried to sleep, but didn't do a very good job. Netsu still had his laptop, and his other computers were locked up in a lab alongside Mei's inventions. He just expected Netsu to be more excited and less worried, and it was giving him anxiety. Was there something special out in that part of the woods? Had he accidentally stumbled across yet another state secret that he wasn't supposed to know? It was frustrating, but Mei was more than happy to ramble and distract him, and that was how they tried to fall asleep. They'd added their sleeping bags onto a giant nest of all the blankets they'd found around in the tunnels, and had basically buried themselves in an attempt to battle the anxiety and boredom that came with not being able to work on their projects. His mom would probably be concerned that he wasn't worried about sleeping basically right next to a girl like other boys his age would have been, and Power Loader probably didn't want them sleeping in the same space either, but having Mei right there with him was comforting. It felt like home in a way that even his house didn't. He was still worried and bored out of his mind, but at least he wasn't alone. He'd have to get some games from Netsu tomorrow and stash them up here so they didn't have this problem the whole week. Mei nudged his arm.
Are you getting lost in your own head again? You said that Netsu was taking care of that pain, so don't worry so much about it. I can tell you more about my babies if you want.
I didn't even know you were up.
Isuku groaned and stretched.
What time is it?
Just past 6 a.m.,
Mei said, sitting up.
The labs unlock at 7 at the earliest, so do you want to just head down there and wait?
Isuku nodded, and they pulled on their work clothes before making their way to the nearest exit and dropping down into the halls of UA. They weren't in any rush, since there was no way the power loader had unlocked the labs yet, so they were just kind of wandering in that general direction when they heard a commotion down the hall and turned to see the entirety of the first-year hero course coming towards them. They all looked exhausted. Everyone was still in their pajamas, and most of them were bleary-eyed and dragging their feet as they made their way down the hall. Isuku glanced over at Mei, who shrugged, so he just turned back to the hero course and started looking for Hitoshi and Ochako.
Go put your stuff in the classroom.
Aizawa instructed.
Then meet in the cafeteria. Lunch rush should have breakfast ready pretty soon anyways.
Mei face-palmed.
Oh, right! Breakfast!
Oh, yeah.
Isuku blushed.
I forgot about that too.
By this point, Hitoshi and Ochako had made their way over, and Hitoshi grinned as he dumped his duffel bag on the floor.
I hate my adults. Can you two kidnap me again? What even happened?
Isuku asked.
I thought that you were in an undisclosed location.
We were,
Ochako whined.
We were just in the woods somewhere until the teachers all came in way too early in the morning and forced us onto the bus.
I thought we were only supposed to have, 3 heroes there, but they had a whole crowd of them to be taskmasters if we weren't moving fast enough.
Ugh, and that was after having to fight our way to camp in the first place.
Isuku froze.
You were in the woods? Just in the middle of nowhere?
Hitoshi frowned.
Yeah, does that mean something to you?
Isuku shared a look with Mei.
No reason. Glad you're okay. Okay?
Hitoshi looked at him skeptically.
You guys forgot to eat breakfast, didn't you?
Inventing is more important,
Mei insisted.
but the labs are still closed, so onward to the cafeteria.
Ochako rolled her eyes and fell into step beside them.
How has inventing been?
I got my program to work.
Isuku shrugged.
Oh?
Hitoshi asked.
Congrats. Yeah.
Isuku looked forward.
I think I might have already stopped an attack.
Mineta was seething. So far, he'd only been able to pass it off as waking up on the wrong side of the bed and being grumpy from a lack of sleep like everyone else, but if things kept going wrong, he might not be able to keep that up. He couldn't imagine how things could have gone more wrong. First the mall attack, then the teachers moving the camp, and all the hero reinforcements that had come with that. They had known about the attack somehow, and considering how Midoriya and Hatsume were the first ones to greet them, Mineta was betting it was all Cheat Code's fault. He needed to get his hands on Shinso, and soon. See how they reacted to having their little, precious extra credit project fall into the hands of villains.
All right, kiddos!
President Mike yelled over the crowd.
So, yesterday you guys were training weird quirks with the Pussycats, right? Well, we're gonna get you whipped into shape real quick right here at UA. It might not be as pretty as the woods, but you're gonna be doing the same things here as you would have been doing there, ya dig? Oh, and Todoroki, Eraserhead wants to talk to you real quick in Netsu's office. Let's go!
Hitoshi was almost completely certain that Isuku knew why the camp location had changed, but for some reason, he didn't want to tell anybody yet. And that was fine. He'd probably hear all about it tonight anyways. It tended to be like that. Even when Mei and Isuku were supposed to keep information confidential, he ended up in the know-how anyways, so he could just be patient. He just hoped that the attack that Isuku had mentioned wasn't on them. Oh, who was he kidding? They were the problem class. Of course it was. But then, who had tried attacking them? The League had just attacked a few days ago, so there was no way that they'd be able to mobilize again this quickly. Right? He sighed as Mina came bounding up to him.
Hey Mina, how are you?
Running on caffeine and sugar.
Mina said cheerfully.
Mandalay said we're supposed to help you with your quirk on our breaks.
Hitoshi nodded as he felt his quirk connect and pulled a small notebook out of his pocket.
Write down some questions you're okay with me asking. Oh, and before you start scheming, I already know Ochako likes me and I'm taking her out next week, so don't bother putting those questions down.
The squealing was so loud that Hitoshi almost lost hold of his quirk. It was gonna be a long day. Aizawa glared at Todoroki's phone as it started vibrating again.
Shigaraki again.
Yes, Netsu hummed. He's been calling and texting quite frequently since we evacuated the camp, most likely as a result of said evacuation. Unfortunately, none of the texts have been relevant information to the attack. Most of them simply tell him to call or have a colorful variety of insults. It's quite entertaining, even if it is highly concerning and incriminating.
He doesn't know we're on to him, though.
Tsukauchi said quietly.
So he won't be prepared for my quirk. That's a silver lining, at least.
Netsu suddenly pressed a button and the door swung open to reveal Todoroki, his hand raised to knock.
Hello, I was told you wanted to see me.
Ah yes, young Todoroki, Netsu said pleasantly. You are right on time. Come, sit down. Todoroki glanced around suspiciously as he entered the room and the door closed behind him with a click as he sat down.
What is this about?
Netsu set his phone on the table in front of him. Would you care to explain what Dusty, has been calling you non-stop for the past 4 hours? Todoroki stared at the phone on the table.
I don't know. He doesn't usually call me.
Tsukauchi blinked in surprise and nodded. Shota frowned in confusion. So Todoroki was telling the truth, but that meant that he didn't know why the camp had changed locations, which just didn't make sense, considering that he's the one who told the League their information in the first place.
So, did you not know that the League was planning to attack our training camp last night?
Netsu asked.
I find that rather hard to believe.
the League was going to attack?
Todoroki said.
Okay, so I guess you already know about the streams, and I know you probably won't believe me, but we never talk about hero and villain stuff. I would never give him information on the camp.
Tsukauchi confirmed that he was telling the truth, and Shota groaned.
So Cheat Code was right about there being 2 traitors.
I'm not a traitor. Todoroki shook his head.
I promise you, I haven't given any information out.
Netsu hummed.
Then why does he keep calling you?
I don't know.
The phone on the desk started vibrating again, and Shota reached towards it with determination and put it on speaker.
But I can find out.
Howdy, y'all. Hope you enjoyed. And if you did, feel free to leave a like or comment down below, because I always love hearing from you guys. And make sure to subscribe so you can stay up to date with whenever I post. And as always, here's a little daily reminder to hydrate, not dehydrate, and also to love yourself.